I'm Tamara Griffith. I'm with Fox Aviation as the Chief Flight Instructor, and this is our Aztec 1966 C model Aztec.
In this video, we travel to Prop Wash Airport in North Texas to check out Fox Aviation's Piper Aztec. The Aztec began life as the Piper Apache, but in 1960, Piper extended the airframe a little, added some 250 horsepower engines, and the Aztec was born. There have been almost 7,000 of the aircraft built. The Aztec can hold 6 people and cruise at 150 knots and cover almost 1,200 nautical miles. You can pick up an Aztec today ranging from $50,000 to $150,000, but you can expect your direct operating cost to be quite high, well over $250 an hour. In this video, we're going to take the Aztec up in the air, put it through its paces, and we're even going to shut down an engine in flight. So let's talk to Tamara and learn more about her and her Piper Aztec.
I was literally just pretty much born into aviation. I've been in an airplane since I was a month old. Both my parents were pilots, and my mother was a mechanic, my dad's a mechanic. My mother was one of probably the first women IAs. And now I'm also a pilot and a mechanic myself. And been in it ever since, so, you know, we'll do the math later. Fox Aviation owns the school. They were a restoration business prior, and it was kind of an accidental start. Next thing I know, I'm teaching one student, and then 2 more show up, and then a few more show up, and word of mouth just kept getting out there, and we exploded into a flight school. Currently, we have at least 2 152s currently flying at all times. Instrument trainer, spin training, all the above, as well as we offer the Aztec for our multi-engine commercial training, all the above, so we can take you from zero to hero. If I'm doing a multi-engine add-on, it is generally 5 to 8 hours. I can get most people ready for a check ride. That's not necessarily a multi-engine proficient multi-engine commercial pilot, but it is enough to pass that check ride and go on and learn more, which most of them are going to go out and do, get more skills at the flying. I do offer commercial multi-initials, which takes up more training time, which I will add more to that skill set because of what they're getting themselves into so soon in the beginning. The biggest thing we are doing when we're teaching multi-engine is a whole lot of what could go wrong and how are we going to address it. It's an emergency after emergency after emergency, especially the single engine loss of the most critical engine, which is generally considered the left engine on these non-counter rotating props. We need to know what is it going to do, how slow can we get, you know, at what point will it try to roll over and become deadly to us. So we're avoiding all that, of course. So the high training is keeping their skills up, and then practice will give them that proficiency down the road. FoxAviation.com, we have a website for the flight school. They can find us there, get emails or phone numbers to us, and we'll get you all set up. This is 1966 Piper Aztec. It's a C model, actually. So she's one of the older generations, but that is, you know, she is pretty much the original as you would have found her, other than paint flaking. High horsepower, high performance, as well as if it fits, it ships. She can carry a large payload. They were often affectionately known as the Az trucks. So they're about 5,500 pounds is her gross weight. They get maybe closer to 56, same difference. And then, like I said, she's got 4 main tanks. We can haul a lot of fuel. Of course, she drinks a lot of fuel, unlike some of your newer models coming out. Her burn, they say in the book, is about 13 aside per engine. An hour. I can get her down to about, you know, that's 26 total. I can get her down to about 22 to 21. This particular aircraft doesn't care for us when we do that. She gets a little too hot. Fuel is a lubricant, obviously. She loves it down low. She loves it up high. Around 12 to 14, I have no problem flying her. She will cruise around 160 miles an hour indicated. Ground speed's always going to vary. They say the true airspeed's around 150, 160. You know, we'll see. She's a little old now. So they use for charter, personal airplanes, corporate type flying, because jets weren't common back then, obviously. and then of course I wasn't around then. And then some of them went into even freight because they were such heavy lifters. Probably still I see them used for some old freight, you know, what we call them, the, you know, the lowball freighters, the cheap freighters. I see them used in personal, and we're starting to see them used in training just because they're coming up cheap and easy to operate. So we can wear them out. And she is traditionally a 6-seat airplane. I have the rear seat out. It was used for a couple of events like Pilots and Paws, so they needed the room, and I just never bothered to put the aft seat back in. Pilots and Paws is where the nonprofit, they fly pets that are being adopted into new locations from across the country, and they took 2 dogs from here to another place. They needed room for a huge cage.
Okay.
The unique one on this, because of the old model of this Aztec, is my left engine. We call it it's a double critical engine, because not only does is the left engine critical in a multi-engine aircraft, but all my hydraulics, which operate the gear, are only on the left engine. So if her left engine quits, kind of affects the rest of the systems too. Most people do know me through the Girls in Flight training, also known as Gift Academy. We do these Gift Week events, trying to get more women in aviation. Obviously, we're very limited in the industry. We call this one Rhonda. Also, sometimes I called her the Sexy Beast. The boys started calling her Rhonda. They didn't like calling her Sexy Beast for some reason, I don't know. But she has her own little hashtag on Instagram, That Darn Right Engine. And partly when I would shut an engine down as part of the training, the requirement to shut one down and restart. If they don't like to restart sometimes hot, I shut the right engine down just in case, so I wouldn't lose my gear. So that was the most common one for me to shut down. So the student gets their picture taken with their first failed engine. That's a rounded up number, but yes, we wake up less than 7% when you include all the student pilots. When you get into the commercial range, we probably are around 4%. The airlines do see higher numbers percentage, but you're still talking a small pool of pilots in comparison to the total U.S. pilots.
All right, well, then you ready to go fly it?
I guess so, yeah.
All right,
I've checked her out multiple times.
Clear.
There you go.
Oh, he shakes that door loose every time.
Yeah.
And the hydraulic pump worked, flaps came up, and the gear handle neutralized again. Clear prop.
Clear. There you go.
If she's cold, she's an easy start.
Yeah.
Hot start, that's a whole other story.
Oh, that's nice. You got a little mascot up here?
Yeah, we call it turbulence indicators.
Turbulence indicator, I like it. That's true.
We are ready to taxi. Looks like my instruments have run up.
Okay.
We'll pull out everything, make a radio call. And prop wash traffic, Aztec 6321 Yankee. Be back taxiing runway 17, prop wash.
So this prop wash here, I've never flown in or out of here before.
Yep.
Kind of like an airport community mostly?
It is an airport community. It's a public use runway, but it is a private owned, obviously, community. About 80% of the hangars have somebody living in them or a housing next to them. So including ours. I don't live here personally, but I'm here every day, so
yeah,
it looks like I
might
moved
as well live here, yeah.
Yeah. Brakes are looking good. Checking each brake, ruddering.
So as a twin engine instructor, a multi-engine instructor, I mean, I guess the reason the left engine is critical is because of the downward, because of the prop rotates to the, well, clockwise if you're looking at it from the back.
Right.
And so that's more thrust on the far outside, right?
Right, yeah. The thrust on the right engine is further out to the wing. So if you hold your arm where, if somebody's pushing on your hand, they can move your arm. But over here, if they're trying to push at your shoulder, they can't, your whole body can hold it.
Right, so that's why it tends to roll over, right?
Right, if you get slow, the good engine is always going to try to roll over, and that wouldn't matter whether it's a right or a left, but it's more obvious going into the left because the extra roll.
Okay.
And the counter rotating is take that away. But,
right, but it's a lot more expensive because you need two different engines.
Yeah, need more gears and all that stuff, and you don't see them on high-performing airplanes very much. So we're going to do a quick run-up. I'm going to have that out.
Okay.
And so I pretty much know that one by heart. We're going to take it up to 15, do a prop check, one engine at a time. I'll move those back up. There it goes. So I saw oil pressure wiggle. Now I'm watching needles wiggle.
So it's your oil pressure that controls the prop, right? It runs
Correct.
through the props?
Yep.
A hydraulic prop?
Yep. And then hold the brake good, get it up to 22. We're gonna do the mag check. Hopefully she's all good today. Testament to my maintenance skills.
Right.
Or the lack thereof.
Do the maintenance too, that's pretty
Yes,
amazing.
I have to. It's a good way to save the money on the IM and IA.
Yeah.
So, and everything else looks good on that engine. And the takeoff. They're stowed, flaps are up. I can visually see they are up. One of the things, we are in our neutral trim.
Okay.
Pretty much was the last time I look at that thing. And I'm gonna swing around a little bit so I can see. I always check final in this airport.
Yeah, some of you right frequencies.
Well, in this one we got 2 or 3 on calm days like today that don't have radios or just handhelds, so it's better to check.
Hey, you look clear, right?
Yeah. Prop wash traffic, Aztec 6321 Yankees taking off runway 17, prop wash. I'll line her up.
Alrighty.
I'll demonstrate a short fill takeoff in this thing. I often teach my students in this airplane, this is a short field, even though this operates quite happily out of this airport.
Uh-huh.
No flaps in this one because of the type of flap she has. Here's it. Things ready? We go
Ready.
I got the brakes. Power it up part way. Everything's settled. All good. Release. The rest of the power. Keep it going straight. Keep it running straight. Airspeed starting to come alive. That's good news today.
Hey, you can definitely feel it pushing you back.
No wasps. Coming up 80. 85. We rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gear coming up. Lower the nose. Blue line. Here we come.
What is blue line on this one?
This one is about 102.
102. So that's your minimum safe airspeed for single engine, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And now we speed up to 120. Gear is officially up. And we're climbing out nice and safe.
Oh yeah, this thing definitely has a lot of power. You can feel it.
Oh yeah. With all my students that fly the 152s, and then I transition them to this, and they're just like,
whoa.
Oh my God, you know.
Yeah, 152 is a little
what just
bit,
happened here? You know, I'm telling them gear up, and they're still going, oh my God, what are we? You know,
that's a little different airplane.
they feel like they're still sitting on the numbers back there.
So when you're doing instruction for multi-engine, is most of that like pattern work? Are you going out doing air work, flying, or what are you doing?
Most of it we start out with air work. I take them out. We get up to an altitude that we're comfortable with for the twin engine to do, and I start them with some basic slow flights in the stalls, pretty much like you would start in a single engine.
Right.
We get them comfortable, and then we introduce them to. I introduce them first to an engine, the engine failures, just simulations. And then I roll them into the VMC and the actual engine shutdown and restart pretty quick. So within 2 lessons, they've already handled engine emergencies,
right.
And they're rolling right along. And usually, part of my job is to, demystify and really take away the fears they have of that, because they read on this internet how horribly dangerous this is, and it's like, no, it really is. I lose an engine at this speed, it's no big deal.
No big deal, yeah.
It's kind of like, keep flying to the next airport.
Yeah, right.
I can go and pick a good airport.
Yeah, I mean, it's the domain. It may have a bad reputation for dangerous for 2 engines, but that's mostly on just takeoff.
Right.
Once you get past that.
Yeah, the most dangerous part is the takeoff.
Right.
And recognizing, and learning to recognize. And we do definitely go through those pretty quick. We lose an engine. Even just a small fuel one occasionally I do. I shut it off by the fuel to my students, just so they know what it's like, because they don't know which engine. Because here they see what I'm doing.
Right.
Down there they're not aware. They're looking off over here for traffic, and then I've killed an engine.
Yeah. So you actually do shut down an engine in flight?
But it is a requirement as part of their training.
Okay.
They have to demonstrate that on the check ride also.
Yeah.
So we go through it
multiple
times.
It's been so long I couldn't remember if I actually did that or not in my multi-engine training.
And I'm not sure it always was.
Okay.
Because I don't remember doing it on my check ride.
Right, I don't remember doing it either. I think it was simulated, I remember doing it.
Yeah, we did a lot of simulated, but I do not remember doing it, but I do know since then it has always been a requirement.
Okay. I instructed for a little over a year, and everybody's trying to kill you every day.
In this one, I would, I always heard that, and I kind of tease about that with my single engine students. But when it came to this one, it was teaching some of my multi-engine instructor applicants that I realized those people are trying to kill me.
All right. Yeah, pretty much.
They really are, because they're demonstrating, and then they just demonstrate all the faults right there in front of me. One took me actually below blue line, after takeoff. Engine failure, and I mean, I lost my cool that day.
Yeah.
Rightly so, but I lost my cool, and I second guessed what I was doing with my life.
Yeah. I imagine so.
one of my favorite things is, you know, we get them into the slow flight, but I love accelerated stalls, and this is one of my favorite to teach.
Okay.
And so after we've done all the stall processes, so we probably have already slowed down. So I'm going to get her slowed down to what I call that speed, because she will stall sooner than her normal numbers at the 45-degree bank. So I'm going to get her to 110. So I put it around 100, about 10 to 12 on the manifold pressure, and that'll put me right around that 110 while I hold altitude. We notice the nose high.
Right.
And then I have a stall light, not a stall horn.
Okay.
So here she is at 110. I roll her into a steep bank and just yank back, and you'll notice that light comes on.
Yeah.
Roll it out. Boom. That's that lesson. Everybody fears that, but it's like being aware of what that number is.
Right.
What was my turning in a 45-degree bank turn? What's that minimum speed?
Right.
That works whether it's a single engine or a twin.
And that was pretty quick too. I mean,
and that's the other reason for starting there. If I started at 140, 150, we're doing 720 some days.
Yeah, right, okay.
Just stall already.
Right.
And we get her right on down. I just get her real slow. Altitude is not important. I got to get her all the way. At slow, you can kind of feel that buffet. Right around 90, I take it up to about 20 inches. And then I'm just pulling her back, aiming for the wind. As you can see how much, you know, so she starts flickering early.
Yeah.
I just push the nose over.
Right.
And that's what I'm teaching them is flow, flow, flow. Just like that. We're going one after another. So that's why it's kind of a quick add-on. But at the same time, I do take the time to sit there and say, no, we're going to repeat this until you understand it.
You want it to be natural so that you know, when you're in that situation, you know exactly what to do. You don't have to think about what do I need to do now. You just do it.
Right. They you know, when even they react to it when it starts, something happens in flight, like the seat going back.
Right.
Somebody yanks on the controls.
Right.
And it's a natural instinct for a lot of people to grab whatever.
I can see how that would happen. Yeah, if the seat just lets go and you're holding on, that you could easily get into accelerated stall
I've had that happen multiple times in my career. In lots of airplanes.
Yeah.
Engine shutdowns are always a joke. I don't know if you got one on that. So the right engine is the one I always shut down just because left engine's critical. We're clean, so I'll take it up to them. And basically I start pulling it. So it's like, not even pull. I pull this one back first. It's like I just start pulling back, and then they feel it immediately. And it's like rudder her straight immediately. Put it in back on, you know, on there, whatever it takes. I don't care what it takes. Then you go, you know, throttles, mixtures, you know, props. Everything goes forward, and I usually keep that one back. You know, flaps up, gears up, everything's working. Dead leg, dead engine. My right leg, I'm not pushing it. It's obviously kind of dead. And I'm gonna go. Okay, we're gonna grab that right prop and right throttle. Excuse me, saying the wrong words. And we push it all the way to idle. No real change, didn't get any worse.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, then we would go to the prop, feather the prop, and feather the engine.
And, all right, and so was it actually, it is stopping spinning totally, wow.
That's what she does.
Wow, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's usually where I get a picture of that one, and then as they're looking at it, and some of them really give me some interesting pictures.
I think I should get a picture of that. That's great. All right. I need a picture of that. There we go. There we go. All right, I got a picture of it.
Yep, now you got a picture. That's why she has the hashtag, that darn right engine.
That darn right engine, okay.
So then I would pull out my checklist. I do know it by heart, obviously, after 1,000 hours of the restart. So, and you know, they maneuver on this engine. So we got Bridgeport right over there. So I'm going to actually set up as if I'm going towards Bridgeport. We're almost to 4,000. We're, you know, maneuvering out here. So it's plenty clear. And it will move a little bit in flight as it tries to windmill. So, you know, and it's perfectly normal. So I'm going to bring the throttle up part way. I put the prop all the way back forward. And we're going to bring the mixture up forward. Fuel pump's going to come on for 5 seconds.
Okay.
4, 5, and off. I'm going to pull it back and down. This is where it always gets a little tricky. It's a slight dive. I just put a little nose down. I'm using my feet to rudder her. Mixture, fuel's on.
Yeah.
And we start right engine.
You actually hit the starter, okay. Yep. Just windmill.
And she'll eventually fire. There goes the firing.
Firing.
Let off, put mixture up. I do not move that throttle until that prop catches up.
Right.
That way I don't overspeed my engine.
Ah, yeah. Wow, you felt it come right back.
And then, then I bring the two back together.
It's no big deal.
She is a no big deal. We never even sunk. We didn't lose any altitude, and I never really got slower than 140.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, she's quite a phenomenal trait. So if you would like, I can even demonstrate the BMC demo as we do that one.
Sure, that's fine.
You know.
And then, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, so basically I'm going to pull them to idle, back to that clean, just like takeoff. And I'm simulating taking off or going around.
Right.
But the left engine is in full idle position, so it's windmilling. It's actually in the worst stage other than here we're cleaned up. And then I'm gonna, get her slow. I just pull that nose up like we're taking off, and I'm gonna get close to rotation speed, go right engine. So brown blue line, I start adding that right engine. It's like, oh, we gotta do a go around.
Yeah.
You feel her initially torque, but you can still hold her.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching her, and it's like, okay, I'm still holding. So see right where she's losing it, that's where you chop it.
Yeah.
Start to lose that ability, you chop it out. She rolls naturally. You drop the nose, she gains speed. And then you prevented everything.
Right.
And then when I got better than blue line, I can go back in with the right engine.
Yeah.
Nobody died.
Right.
Today.
So you need a little bit of altitude to perform that, I guess.
To perform that, but if I were in a real world and I just took off and then I started losing authority on a go around, chop it and put her back on the ground.
Yeah.
And that is the safest thing I do. We do I have one takeoff briefing I use. And that's when we take off. If the gear is up, we're going to go around. If the gear is down, put it back on the ground.
Right.
Prop wash traffic Aztec 21 Yankee is on a 3-mile right base for runway 17, full stop, prop wash. Warn the world I'm coming in. Notch flaps, 1001, we're below 150. Powering it back to 1213. Blowing down below 150, I can go with the gear. Just because I have the energy to make that runway.
Right.
I do not see anybody at this time on the runway. And mixture's forward, fuel pumps are on. We're going to go with the next notch of flaps. The other thing about having a single hydraulic pump is I can only run gear or flaps at once at a time. I can't, yeah. A few of my students don't quite catch on to that till they're like, I didn't get any flaps. Well, the gear wasn't done yet.
Right.
Yeah. They get a lot of real life lessons. It's kind of comical. And I have 3 green. And I'm going to go with the full flaps. Lowering her down.
You can crank it down though if you need to.
We have this hand pump here so I can pump. It does have a reservoir, so it would be partly pumped. And it does have a blow down.
Blow bottle.
A blow bottle, which I hope I never have to use because I'd have to move my seat all the way back and dig under the seat to get to it because I'm short. And it wouldn't be pretty. If we're in that critical, I'm just going to probably not bother. So red, blue, 3 green, runway's clean.
Yep.
I'm right at blue line. And on a short field is the only time I'll start, when I'm committed to the landing, I'll start getting a little below blue line. But also I don't have the torque.
Right.
Because the power is partially out. And I'm making this a short field to land very, very short.
Crosswind from the left.
Yep. It'll just be whatever it takes. There's no power. Let her drop right on in. It doesn't float very long.
Oh yeah, she doesn't float much at all.
And then flaps and brakes. And that's a nice short field.
Yeah, that was great.
Don't even use half the runway.
Yeah, that didn't really float at all.
Within about 2 lessons, I can have my students landing just like that.
Okay, great.
So they're amazed in themselves, and it's a great confidence builder. Flying this thing just changes your world.
Yep, it's a little different than a 152, that's for sure.
Right.
Well, thank you for taking me up and for the flight.
Yeah, well, thank you for the ride. I enjoy flying her.
And Tamara, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was really pretty cool. I haven't done that in so long, and I don't even remember if I've actually ever shut down an airplane in actual flight before.
Well, there you go. We do it all the time.
All right, well, thanks. We'll do it again sometime. Thank you.
Well, thank you for watching another episode of Flying Doodles. Really appreciate you tuning in. Please click the like and subscribe button. Really cool airplane. There's a link in the show notes there if you'd like to get instruction in this airplane or any of the other planes they have. And if you'd like to go fly together and film something, it's Bobby at sailingdoodles.com. Thank you so much, guys. And for the guys that really like it, it's patreon.com/flyingdoodles. We really thank you so much for your support.